Many times our boys, when it especially comes to taking to Grihasta ashram, there are many fears also. For example, sometimes people feel that, so I think there is a PPT for that. That person with the long hair, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, correct. So he's afraid. You see the expression on his face? There is fear in his face. So anyway, don't worry, if you become a Grihasta, you don't have to dress like this. Keep short hair and, be more sober. So, people have fear about work. We have to work a lot. That is certainly correct that one has to work because one has to maintain a family. And sometimes Prabhupada writes that to maintain a family or an establishment in Kali Yuga is like maintaining an empire. It's quite a challenge. So, one thing I would say is that as such, we advise all our boys to, study very nicely. And to, right? That's a general advice given because all of you are like Arjuna, in your own place, where you need to set an example to your other student friends in your college. If you don't study well, then people will be put off by seeing your example. And you will also face a lot of difficulty in your Krishna consciousness. So whether you are Brahmacari or a Grihasta, going to be a Brahmacari or a Grihasta, you have to study well. But especially a Grihasta boy, who in future become a Grihasta, you should focus on his career nicely, study well. We advise people to, according to their proclivity and nature, kind of study nicely and get well situated in a job. So in our Nityanand Sabha, we give classes on this also. What all type of career options are there? Like if you want to be a teacher, for example, what all you need to do. If you want to be a researcher. So we have devotees in all domains actually. We have devotees who are businessmen, devotees who are teachers, different domains we have devotees. So we give advice on all that. But the point is that two things. If you focus on your career nicely, study well, and also you always decide to live a simple life. Simple life means not complicate it too much. Not taking too much loan. We talk about this also in our Nityanand Sabha classes. When you take a loan, how you should deal with that situation. Because nowadays if you go to the bank and all, they are ready to give you any amount of loan. But one has to be very careful actually. So we talk on all this. So if you are very careful, then you can lead a relatively peaceful life. Otherwise you'll have to slog too much if you are reckless in spending and, because there's a commercial world outside. Yeah. Similarly, boys also have this concern that if I'm always next to a woman, if I have a wife and, I'm next to her, maybe I'll always be lusty and, things like that. Well, that's what the Grihasta ashram is meant for. It is meant to, put you in a situation where you are married to a particular lady, and then once that happens and you actually stay with her over a period of time, you gradually develop a detachment. It will happen. It's not that detachment as in it's not that if you are next to a woman then always you are thinking about sex or enjoying her. It doesn't happen that way. Because the nature of the material world is that when you get used to a particular object, you lose your attraction towards it also so much. It becomes more functional, right? Just like, for example, your mobile phone. Just to give an example. When we purchase a new mobile phone, we are very much attracted to it, right? Like this mobile phone, for example, I got 6 months back. So first time when I got it, I put it in a cover actually. Seriously, there was a cover for it. I would put it in a cover, and if there was one scratch, I was, like this, doing all these things. Then after 2-3 weeks, it became only functional. That means to just send SMS or phone, you use it. Otherwise, it is just lying there. Even though it's a very so-called nice mobile phone, but you're not really fascinated by the looks of it. So similarly, once you are actually married to a woman, it's not that, maybe for the first 1 or 2 months, you may be bewildered by whatever her beauty or something, but after some time, it's more a question of, doing things together in terms of so many things have to be done. Right? The house has to be maintained, the bills have to be paid, the house has to be kept clean, we have to practice our devotional service. Correct? It becomes like that, But of course, you're still attracted to some other mobiles in general. So that means, I'm not saying that just by getting married, one loses attraction to woman itself. By matravat paradareshu. So Chanakya's instruction is what? other than your own wife, you have to be very careful with other women. Because then that is how Maya is. Once you're married to a particular lady, even if she's Miss Universe or whatever, she's very beautiful, but, after some time she'll look very ordinary only. Because you're always looking at her and you're always dealing with her. So there is nothing very special about it. But the other, Maya generally still looks alluring. So one has to be very careful. Matravad paradarishu. One has to be careful with other ladies. Look at them as mothers. For you, everyone is a mother currently. Because that's the situation in which you are. Okay? So will I be able to go back home, back to Godhead? Of course. That's why the Bhagavatam has so many examples about Grihastas, who are going back to Godhead. All this Yayati and what to speak of the other, so many people. Yeah, everyone. Not only the official Mahajanas whom we listed, so many examples are there in the Bhagavatam of Grihastas who actually go back home, back to Godhead. It is possible. But sometimes the scriptures, say Hitvatma Patam Griham Andakupam. So scriptures sometimes, they speak very strongly about family life. Like for example, this is a verse from Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad was a Grihastha, of course, later. But when he was young, he spoke like this to his friends. Hitvatma Patam, he spoke to his father actually. Hitvatma Patam Griham Andakupam. So he compared Griham to Andakupam, to a blind well in which you fall. Like sometimes, in rural areas, you will see that there is a well which is covered over by grass. It's very dangerous. There are long these, grass which has grown, overgrown, in that area. And if you fall in such a well, even if you shout, there is no one to hear also. No one is there to hear. You just have to die over there. There's no question of swimming and coming out. There's nothing. So he compares family to that. Griham Andakupam, blind well into which one has fallen. Where even if you cry, nobody comes to help you. So when such statements are heard, sometimes a person gets fearful. My God, such statements are said about family life. So you understand it in two ways. One way is that the scriptures in such connection, they are talking about the Grihamedi life. They are not talking about the Krishna conscious Grihastha life where you have kept Krishna at the center of your home. They are talking about a person who is enjoying Kama and Artha without Dharma. They are talking about such a situation. That's one way you can see. Another way you can see is that this Grihastha also has to be very careful. Because he has the Delhi ka laddu with him. He has all these facilities with him. If he is not careful, his Grihastha life will quickly degenerate to like this life. You understand? So it is supposed to be taken as a warning and that way. It is not supposed to be taken as a discouragement. That's not what it is meant for actually. So how you see the Shastra is again very important over here. Previous to that, there was another point written, I want to be a free bird practicing Krishna consciousness, but I cannot join temple. That means there are some boys who say that, Prabhuji, ये Brahmacari ashram भी मुश्किल लग रहा है, Grihastha ashram भी मुश्किल लग रहा है. Why not just stay, just like that, I mean, just take up a job, stay outside and, do devotional service. So you don't have, in fact, some of our boys, because they are, coming from good engineering background, they present very logical sound arguments also for that. They say that, you see, if you are Brahmacari ashram, then there are so many rules, regulations, we are bound by all that. Family life to bhaiya bahut, usme adchan hai, you have to kind of spend so much of time, effort. But if you are staying alone, then you have money also, and you have all the time, and everything is there. Why not? This is a nice situation. Well, the Shastra doesn't permit it. Krishna says Chatur Varnayam. So Varnas and Ashramas are only 4. Pancha Varnayam is not there. Pancha Ashramam. Krishna has not said, I have established 5 ashramas, where one is this category. So it is not permitted because it is very dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. You cannot stay alone like that. So generally, only if somebody is having a severe, like a homosexual problem or something, where he cannot stay in a brahmachari ashram also, because he is agitated by the presence of other men, and neither can he marry a woman. In such situations, which is a very exceptional case, we may, permit something like this. But even but in general, it's strict no, it's not allowed. You will actually fall down. It's very, very dangerous. So you cannot remain without joining temple or getting married. You cannot do that. What if my parents force me to marry a non-devotee girl? Well, on this we have so many sessions in Nityanand Sabha camps that we do. So it's kind of it's a very big topic. But in essence, I would like to tell you that there are 2-3 ways in which you can see. First thing is we have a marriage board within ISKCON itself. So any devotee desirous of getting married, we help them to get married. and generally at least 40-50% of our boys have got married within our society only. So that is one very good option that's available. And even if somebody has to get married to someone else, there are ways in which we can preach to, that girl, whomever. Like for example, sometimes some of our boys, they have had some girlfriend from the past or something. Then in such cases, what we tell them is, whoever that Mataji is, you connect her to us. That means we put her under the shelter of one Mataji devotee who cultivates her parallelly. And by the time this boy is ready for marriage, he is also ready for marriage. Something like that. So we have done all those things. So all such methods are possible, which we deal more in great detail in our Nityanand Sabha camps and topics. So I'm just touching that briefly. And the final one says that I can't read, chant and advance in Krishna consciousness in married life. Well, that's not so. You can do everything. Where there is a will, there is a way. So in every job and in every situation, you always get time if to read and do everything. In fact, even service in temple, in every department, there are Grihastas and Brahmacaris. So, we can do all kinds of services. We can practice spiritual life, the way we want. It is just that because we have a house and a job and a family and everything, we have to, adjust and see how much we can do. Just like for example, now book distribution marathon is going on. So I'm sure the Brahmacharis, I don't know, each Brahmachari distributes how many books, Prabhuji? On an average, 100, 200, they have been told to.
Last time out of 80,000, they did 50,000.
That is including these boys, no? I think the boys did 20 or 30.
Boys
Yeah. So the other congregation did about 30,000.
Almost the congregation from the 50% they take.
Yeah. So all kinds of services and everything Grihastas also do. They have avenues to do it, but it is done. It is done in a little different environment. That's all. That's all I can say. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It is said, Madhurena Sampayet. Madhurena Sampayet means Sanatan Goswami in one writing he says that you should always end sweetly. So Raisa Prabhu has to end. I cannot do it.
Hare Krishna. These are some reasons that boys may have fear about joining Brahmacharya ashram. Too austere for me. The only austerity is you have to come for the morning program in time. Other than that, I don't see any austerity. How do you all like the lunch prasad? How do you like the dancing program? How do you like darshan? How do you like the ashram? So these are not austere at all. Of course, you can sleep early also if you want. You can sleep at 8:39. In boys also, we don't restrict boys sleeping early. We don't say, hey, why are you going so early? In fact, we have to push boys to sleep early. But what is strict? Morning, rising early in the morning. So, there is no serious austerity like the Vedic lives. You have to live in the jungle and eat kandamul and roots. Yeah? You have to take bath in Gangotri, Yamunotri and all. Here we have geyser also. If you want hot water also, you get hot water, no problem. In fact, Prabhupada's guru, Bhaksan Saraswati Thakur, he said that the colleges are making huge hostel complexes for accommodating the students, opening big libraries and simply teaching Jada Vidya, material science. Why not we provide facility for young boys to stay comfortably, study Krishna consciousness and preach it? So that was the idea of Bhaksan Saraswati Thakur. He made very nice, beautiful Brahmacharya ashram facility just like we have here. So, of course, the Brahmacharya ashram is not for eating and sleeping. Prabhupada says ISKCON is not a free hotel, Prabhupada says, in one of his purports. So, one should use the facility for living and studying, practicing, purifying the heart and preaching. So there is no serious austerity like in the Vedic times. You don't have to go door to door to beg and bring alms. Only thing is you distribute books. Prabhupada said distributing books is equivalent to that. Because you have to persuade people to take books. Also we persuade children to follow values. We persuade the college students to take to Krishna consciousness. You don't have to go door to door to beg. So I don't see any serious austerity in the ashram. What will I tell my parents? First you decide your ashram, then you can worry about this question. Like one boy in my IIT days, I was joining and this boy also wanted to join. He went and told Devamrit Prabhu in those days. Now he's Bhakti Maharaj now. So he told, I am only worried, Maharaj, what will happen? I don't know. My mother will cry and they'll make a big scene at home. And Maharaj said, don't worry, Krishna will give you strength to tackle. So me and him, we both went to the telephone booth and he had to talk to his mother. And he was trembling, his hands were trembling. So I called up the mother. Mom, now I have worked for a couple of years or something. Now he said, I was just thinking about whether I could dedicate my life to becoming Brahmacari in Krishna consciousness. And his mother said, oh, such a wonderful idea it is. She said, by Krishna's grace, I have got 2 sons. Already there is one elder son who is married and working and all. He will take care of me. And you, my child, you dedicate your life to ashram and become a wonderful renunciate, she said. And he kept silent completely. And the mother asked, Beta, are you able to hear me? He got shocked. She had no problem at all. She said, I am already seeing you chanting and becoming serious in spiritual life. Now if you want to dedicate your life, it's wonderful, she said. So now he came back to the temple completely silent. And Bhaktivinoda Maharaj asked me, what happened? I think his mother has scolded him strongly. I said, no Maharaj, mother has permitted. And then Maharaj asked him, any problem for you, Prabhu? He asked, Maharaj, I am more attached to my mother than her attachment for me. So, oftentimes the parents don't have problem. Who has problem? We have problem. Understood, no? Actually, we are worried about their protection more than they worrying about their own protection also. But still, we make some arrangements for the parents before joining. Don't worry. How to tell parents, how to take care of parents. Actually, our boys don't join during the college days. You complete your studies, work for 3-4 years, earn some money, 5 to 10 lakhs. If you are IIT, NIT, at least 5 lakhs you should give. If you are any other engineering college, at least 3 lakhs they give. But of course, you may have to give more in certain families where the money need maybe 10-15 lakhs also. One of our devotees, he went to Gulf. He went to Gulf and worked. He gave how much? 18? Yeah, he gave a big amount. He was a very duty-bound son. Ideal example of a good son. He didn't run away from the responsibility. He had to take almost 2 years. One year he went and he earned a big amount and came and gave to parents. Joined ashram after that. So, in this way there are students, actually sometimes students think, I will run away from home and shave up and parents will spoil, the ISKCON's good name will be spoiled. And also parents will be very unhappy with you that you have run away from responsibility. So we always tell the students, we have 30 questionnaire we have, to check whether your parents have own house, whether they have money to lead the life in a way till last breath. Your mother, father should not come to street. They should have enough money. If they don't have, then you have to earn and provide them before joining the ashram. So don't worry, you don't have to leave everything and join unless you are convinced that parents' security is arranged. What will happen to my future if I want to marry? No problem, you can get married whenever you want. As long as you don't want to marry, try to stay in the ashram. First you wear yellow, like this yellow dress you wear for 1 year. And then after that you wear white and you shave for about 3-4 years. You do Bhakti Shastri. First is, we call it as PDC, we call it, Personality Development Course for 1 year. Then Bhakti Shastri for 2-3 years. So 4 years you spend in the ashram and 1 more year, and then 5th year or so you'll be given saffron if you wish. If you don't want saffron, you're afraid of taking saffron, you can spend some more years in white also. Nobody is going to force it on you. In fact, yellow also, if you want to be in yellow for 10 years also, you can be in yellow. Now, whenever you say, Prabhuji, now I can shave up. Like one boy said, Prabhuji, I will only shave up if nobody in the world should ridicule me that I am shaven at a takla or something, I said, my Lord, 7 billion population, are you going to convince them? They should not ridicule you. We cannot have too much of ahankar about our hair, So, but you only will be asked to decide. When they will ask you, if you are ready now, if you want to shape and join ashram, you can join. So these are 3 levels, yellow, white and saffron, gradually given. So generally the white devotees, yellow devotees, if they wish to marry, they can go for marriage after some time. White devotees also. Generally those who take saffron don't go for marriage. But they are also not taking vows in front of deity. Only sannyasi takes a vow in front of deity. The saffron devotees take a kind of commitment to Guru that I want to remain celibate lifelong. But there are a handful of saffron devotees who changed from Brahmacari ashram to Grihasta ashram, but they got very good jobs and settled. Because you all hold a degree, you are a qualified man, getting a job is not a difficult thing. Congregation will help you. In case you want to marry, they will absorb you immediately in their own business. In fact, they know brahmacharis well and they are very happy with brahmacharis because brahmacharis are regulated and punctual, rising in the morning, they have a lot of good habits. So you are easily absorbed into job. What's the use of my technical knowledge if I become brahmachari? Okay, some technical knowledge will be of help. Some brahmacharis are using their computer knowledge or programming knowledge. Some of them are using their electrical engineering knowledge to some degree. But the technical education has given you some development of understanding of science which will help you to preach the Krishna consciousness in a way students can understand you. You can combine science and Vedic knowledge together and give them. But of course, studying about Atma and Paramatma is more superior science than studying about Jada Vidya. Studying dead matter is not as great as studying about animate Jiva. So that is Raja Vidya. I get lusty dreams. I am not pure, he is saying. These questions are separately.
I'm sorting out both.
Yeah. He is saying that, okay, if somebody is getting lusty dreams, should they get married? Actually, even somebody has become a sannyasi, he can get a thought passing through his mind. A wave of lust can pass. Like he says, Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde nava nava rasadamanu dyatarantu masi tadavati batanari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukha vikara shushtu nishtivanam cha. Like that Yamunacharya is saying. He is saying, as and when a thought of a opposite sex woman passes through my mind, my lips curl in distaste and I spit at that very thought. Like that he says. Prabhupada said, Jan maitunadi grihamedi sukham tucham. In Calcutta, Prabhupada was giving a lecture. Tucham, tu, like that. So, what is this insignificant pleasure? It's a nasty pleasure. Useless. So, you know it is useless from an intellectual point of view, but our heart is not yet convinced because of the sanskaras in our mind. As I told you, the mind has certain sanskaras experienced in the Purva Jana, and which we are carrying, or in this Janam also. Likely that some students have experiences in getting to women to different degrees. Somebody has kept on watching a woman, same woman for some time, maybe your classmate or your neighborhood in your home, in your native place or wherever. So you get close to opposite sex because there is a eagerness to see them, talk to them, joke with them, touch them. Two types of attraction is there in a woman. One is the physical appearance of the woman deteriorates man's intelligence. And the form of a woman, their eyes, their face cut, their form, the external, the giggling, their different type of vocal cord is arranged by Brahmaji in order to attract charm the heart of man. So this is one external appearance of a woman is something that enchants the man. It can dismantle the austerity of a man if one is too closely associating with woman. Another thing is the emotional nature of woman, which is very childish nature. Like a child, you have seen, no? Like children are adamant, women are adamant also. Like a child wants many things, many commodities to accumulate, women want to accumulate also. The children are very innocent, the women are also many times in their dealing with men, they are gullible and they are innocent. So Shastras say many similarities between women and children. So sometimes man is in want of some emotions. So he may sometimes want to hook on to some woman and get that support from a woman. If a woman speaks very sweetly, then the man feels, thank you, very nice. Like that he feels. So sometimes boys also college, I've seen in my class also, engineering drawing I used to teach many other students, but one boy used to always go to that side only. And to learn from girls. Girls used to say, we don't know much here, please go to Radheshyam. He said, no, I want to learn from you only. So he doesn't want to learn engineering drawing, he wants something else there. Understand? So man is in want of, instead of satsanga, you want kusanga. Their association. So Shastras ban it. They say that there should be man-woman separation. But if the man feels the need of that emotional support from a woman, then the marriage should be done properly. And also, one boy had asked a question, if I am taking Nityananda Sabha, does that not mean that I am weak-hearted and I am lusty man, I am in need of sex? No. Why people go for married life? Not necessarily for sex, because some people have a strong sense of responsibility towards mother and father. They want to be with mother and father and protect. Some parents may have diseases in their body. They may want to stay with them till the end and protect them. Some boys marry because of that. And some people may not be so much attracted to gross sex, but they feel a need of some emotional support. See, everybody in this world experiences insecurity and inadequacy, these two things. Because we are inadequate, we accumulate things. And then we think, I'm adequate now, holding things. So by possessing, some people feel, possessing material commodities, they feel, now I'm adequate now. The man who dies with the maximum toys is a winner, they say in America. No? So you accumulate toys, material toys, which you give up and go at the time of death to avoid inadequacy. Insecurity, how do you overcome it? We are seeking love. We want some love from mother, love from father, love from wife, love from children, love from relatives, friends. Like how many of you have experienced when you go to a marriage party and home, some of the relatives are getting married. In those days you will see there will be a kind of mahal there. Your uncle, your aunt, your grandfather, grandmother, your father's brothers, your mother's sisters, all of them will be talking, going, everybody is wearing silk saree and moving around, and father's friends are all sitting, and there is a dumataka, pepe, and all those instruments and everything. There is yajna, swaha, and all that yajna is going on. And small children will be running here and there, climbing upstairs, climbing downstairs, going and everything, as if they are very busy doing nothing practically. Grandfather will call you, come and sit on my lap, they will feed you a laddu in your mouth. And somebody will say, hey, you are wearing new dress, so beautiful, and they pick you up and give you a kiss or embrace. So that is called Swargiya Ras, we call it. So Parthiva Ras means sense gratification. Swargiya Ras means emotional support. Some people need that. Somebody likes, oh, everybody loves me. You understand what I am saying? Yeah. So there is Parthiva Ras, Swargiya Ras, Vaikuntha Ras. So ideally speaking, if you are going for renounced order, the Vaikuntha Ras should be the focus. Some Swargiya Ras also you may get in the company of other Brahmacharis. Some Brahmacharis will appreciate you. Some may pinch you also. Like in your voice also. How many of you get some appreciation? Voice? Okay, almost 75%. How many of you get some feedback also? Yeah, correct. So both you get. Correct, no? So in Brahmacari ashram, some emotional support you will get. But if you need more than that, then in the Grihasta ashrama, that's an ashram where you have multiple relatives, friends, supposed to be actually. Nowadays becoming nuclear family nowadays. But otherwise, your mother, father, uncle, aunt, one wants to be in that atmosphere. So different people marry for different reasons. And as Krishna Prabhu rightly said, for destroying the material desires in our heart, you should create a right climate in order for the material desires to be eliminated. Either create a brahmachari climate or create a grihastha climate. Whichever climate your attachment to Krishna is getting nourished and it is growing more powerfully like a flagrant fire, that ashram you should accept. Like I accepted Brahmacari ashram because I find it very comfortable. Although I have 3 sisters, I have watched them from their childhood and raised them. And I have got them all married also, settled when I was joining the ashram. But I didn't feel any necessity or need or attraction to get married and settle in a married life. And on the other hand, one's taste for studying Shastra and contemplation. For a Brahmachari, the contemplation is very important. Contemplation, absorption, reflection. In fact, all my nourishment comes from that. And also doing some devotional dedicated service to the spiritual master and the Guru Parampara. On the other hand, Krishna Prabhu, as I told you from the beginning days, after his marriage, he and his wife, they have been doing so much of service, as much as any brahmachari can do in the ashram, that much they have done for Pune. They brought hundreds of people to Krishna consciousness also. So he is getting his nourishment and leading a very vibrant spiritual life in Grihasta ashram. Now sometimes you find a brahmachari joins brahmachari ashram and he is becoming very dull, looking at staring at the sky, he becomes mental. No? Yeah. So, sometimes he is thinking about mother, father, thinking about home, or some Matajis are coming to temple, as he said, he's looking at them. So actually he is not able to get nourishment in brahmachari ashram. You understand, no? He is not very happily situated. And the Shastra is the last thing he wants to touch. And he is not doing service, he is not studying Shastra, he is simply hankering and just wasting his time. So he is a Dila Brahmachari, correct, no? Similarly in Grihasta ashram also, sometimes people marry, they don't do job. They survive on only dowry brought by the wife. They tell wife, go and bring more from your father. And the wife doesn't know what to do. She doesn't want to divorce him also. Same time this fellow is not going for job, irresponsible. And this fellow, in the name of renunciation, he comes to temple. Sometimes he spends time in the temple and not doing his. You understand? Neither here nor there. Some people are like that. So irresponsible grihastha who are slack. Some of the people, when they join grihastha ashram, you find that they abscond. 2 saal ho gaya, dekha hi nahi. You ask him, hey, what happened, Prabhuji? Prabhuji, I am settling in life. After marriage, settling means, are you settling 2-3 years it takes to settle? Because sometimes they get swallowed by material things. So Dila Grihastha is unhappy, Dila Brahmacharya is unhappy. Both of them get delayed. Dila people get delayed to go back to Godhead. So become a strong Brahmachari or a strong Grihastha. Of course, we have to endeavor to be strong. And nobody can say, I am a strong Brahmachari, I am a strong. Nobody can say that, because we have to constantly keep ourselves alert and awake to go in the right direction. Then ultimately, who can make us strong? Only Krishna can make us strong. So, I get lusty dreams. Yes, these lusty dreams will come. Agama, apayano, anityaha, tam stitikshasva bharata. They will come, stay, and go away. Don't worry, tolerate. This is Brahmacharya ashram. And Grihastha ashram means they are coming, they are creating vibration. Oh, better attend to them. In a religious way, in an authorized way. That is Grihastha ashram. Or the lusty thoughts are coming. One thinks, boy thinks, I don't want to marry because responsibilities are there. I don't want to join ashram because those fellows won't allow me to do these things. I will go to internet and press some button of some lady and go and enjoy secretly. Then he's a rascal. Prabhupada says that. If you want to be brahmachari, be a brahmachari. If you want to be grihastha, be a proper grihastha. If you want to be a bachelor daddy, Prabhupada says, don't become a bachelor daddy. You know who is a bachelor daddy? He is a bachelor, not yet married, but he has 2-3 babies here and there. Bachelor daddy. Then he is a rascal, he says. So that is not allowed. That is why Shastras give us direction properly. Too many rules for everything, sniffing and coughing also is saying. Sarve vidhi nishedasyor eteyor eva kinkara. You heard that verse? Smartavyam satatam vishnum vismartavyam na jatu chit. Whatever rules we follow is only to remember Krishna. We don't unnecessarily follow any rules. Do you think we plug the nose and stand upside down? We don't do all that. We don't go to Himalayas. We don't torture the body with big rules. Our rules are all meant to help us to remember Krishna only.
When we get married, 50% of our pious credit goes into the account of the wife. And there 50% nonsense activity comes in our account. Why should we marry then? Well, so it's a way of seeing basically that I am the saint here and there is going to a sinner who is going to come and take away all 50% of my pious credit and give me 50% of their nonsense. So I would say that is a very, very negative way of looking at it. See, there is a purpose why this scriptural injunction exists. That 50% of the pious activity of the husband goes to the wife and 50% of her sins comes to you. It is because the idea is that in the Vedic civilization, whoever is responsible, whoever is giving the shelter, he takes responsibility of that, what is happening. You understand? the leader takes responsibility of the follower. This is the Vedic paradigm. It's not only in husband-wife. It applies even, for example, in Raja, Praja, everywhere it applies. That whoever is the leader, he takes the responsibility. You see, because it is a fact that in India or anywhere in the world, even today, it is the husband only who, who mainly decides how things have to be in the house. Like when the marriage happens, like in Hindi they say, ladki ghar aati hai. So the woman comes to the home. So she comes to a new house actually. And whatever goes on in the house, she has to follow that. That's how it is. So if something wrong is happening, obviously the husband is responsible for it. If the wife is seeing a movie at home in a big LCD screen, that means obviously the husband has provided all that stuff here. That's why she's seeing. He has to take responsibility. He has to take the papa. You understand? And whatever punya the husband is able to do, he is able to do only because of the support of the wife. You see, just like for example, I am here today since morning. I came to dress the deities. I had my dressing seva in the morning for 2 hours. Then I chanted and I am sitting here with all of you for 4 hours. In my house currently, my relatives have come. There are so many people at home. Why I am able to sit here? Because of my wife. Because she is sitting there and she is taking care of everybody who has come. There are 5 people sitting in my house currently. She is cooking the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner, taking care of everyone who has come, serving them. So if I have been able to come to temple today from 4 o'clock to 1 o'clock sitting here, it is because of her. So obviously 50% of what I have done, credit should go to her. It is because without that I couldn't have even come here. No question. So it's that way. And also the Shastra is never one-sided. The Shastra also says, for example, the Shastra says the chaste woman, the chaste wife always follows the destination of the husband. So once we had asked this question to Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, if the husband is sinful and if he goes to hell and the wife is chaste, what happens to her? Does she go to hell because the chaste woman has to follow the husband? Shastric rule hai wo. He said, no, it's not like that. The chaste woman, because she is chaste, she will always get a better destination. And because she was a chaste wife, even though the husband was a nonsense rascal who was supposed to go to hell, because of our chastity, she cannot go to hell. So the husband is uplifted from the hellish condition to the heavenly and the superior condition. So what the Shastra says is never one-sided. You understand? So to imagine that something like this is a very negative way of looking at it. It's not like that. That's all I want to say. Okay. So there's another question very similar. When a man marries, I heard from Bhagavatam that he carries 50% of the sins of the wife. So, well, the answer is the same, which I just said. Okay. So anyway, since... does anybody else have anything to ask in this directly as well? So we can just, only related to this. Because I'm just taking one by one sets of questions. So only related to this 50% business. Yeah.
Prabhu, like suppose one person gets married to a woman, and then in the Vedic scriptures there is nothing like divorce, right?
Yeah.
So then she divorces him, she goes somewhere else. So does he continue to get all the sins?
See, you continue to get all the sins as long as that person is under your protection. If the other person gives up the protection and goes, then it's not applicable at all. So though the Vedic scriptures don't talk about these examples, because in Vedic civilization there is no divorce, but we understand from the essence that the essence is that those who are under your protection, for them all these rules are. If somebody is giving up your protection and walking off, there's no question. Why should you be incriminated? Right? Any other question regarding to this 50%? The wife's past sins come to the account, eh? Well, I never thought about it. You guys are engineers, you think a lot. But somehow my brain has stopped working since many years. See, it is actually not like that. If you see very technically, as long as someone is a child, whatever the mistakes are done are borne by the father. You understand? So woman, for example, until she is married, her complete responsibility of whatever she is doing is with her father. After marriage, the responsibility comes to the husband. So there is no backlog carryover. Basically, marriage is a pact. It is something coming together to do something wonderful. That's actually what it is. So, vivaha basically in Sanskrit means Vishishta Rupena Vahana. That means a very special vehicle of companionship for perfection. Lagna in Sanskrit means to get stuck, but it's not in a very negative sense. It means to get stuck very positively to something. When Jayananda Prabhu, one Prabhupada disciple, when he got married, Prabhupada wrote to him that before marriage you were giving $5,000 donation. Now that you are married, you should give $10,000 donation. Well, so what we understand from that, besides the $5,000, $10,000 business, is that when one is married, one can double one's service. One can do it that way. That's what it actually means by all this 50%. So basically it's a combination of two people coming together to support each other. It is not that only the wife is getting support. The husband also gets a lot of support. That's how it is to be seen. Right? Yeah.
Sometimes our mothers perform that सात जन्म के लिए यही पति मिलता है.
Oh, you're saying that sometimes our mothers perform some rite, so that 7 lives they get the same husband. Well, see, this is.
So we get next birth as human or.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. See, some things are there in the Vedic culture in general, where that concept of chastity is so strong that not only in this life, next life also I'll continue to remain chaste to the same man. Well, from the pure devotional perspective, we don't see it. We don't see such things very importantly. That means, we don't believe that life after life I should be a Grihasta only and that also married to the same woman. We don't see it that way. We just see that, first of all, our goal is not to sit in this world for Sat Janam. We want to get out. So we are not interested to come back for Sat Janam for all that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So some things are there in the general Vedic Sabhyata culture. But in our Krishna consciousness, we don't emphasize on something so much. You get the point? Because that's not really so important. Yeah? But yeah, that was the concept in this thing. Okay, so I'll take some other questions. If I have decided to become a Grihasta and my mother is very favorable to Krishna consciousness, and she asks how you will find a wife for such devotional lifestyle, can I tell about ISKCON marriage board? You could. So, in short, the marriage board that we have, where we arrange marriages, as I told you, about 40% of our boys generally I've seen who get married to the marriage board, because for everyone it's not possible to arrange, because some people have some very specific requirement of caste and all that, which we may not be able to match. But of course, for many people we're able to match as well, because we do have Matajis also from all caste and creed all over India. But we may not be able to do that for everyone. So everyone's marriage we may not be able to fix, but several marriages we have fixed and several people are doing very well in their Grihastha. So you could tell your parents as well. So that's fine. Can we attend both sabhas, Gauranga and Nityananda? Answer is no. Because what happens is you'll just get confused. See, please try to understand what happens. See, in the Gauranga Sabha classes, the focus, for example, the topics are like, how to tell parents that we are going to join. How to, for example, cutting the attachment in the heart. Things are emphasized more in that direction. So, for example, if somebody is actually meant to get married and he attends such classes, I have generally observed that he just gets more confused. That's all. And a lot of our energy goes in removing such a person's confusion. So, my suggestion basically is that you should attend the sabha only when you are sure. But as far as Nityananda Sabha is concerned, if somebody is not sure for a long time, then the default is Nityananda Sabha. So, you got to attend that. So, generally what our rule says is that, generally we have seen that after beginning 16 rounds japa, at least in a period of 2 to 2.5 years, what sabha you should take should be clear to you. That means, for example, I presume most of your second year students or something, because typically first year you got introduced to the voice system and all that. Your second year, right? How many of your second year? Yeah, that's almost the majority. So basically, of course, some people would be third year as well. How many? Any third year here? They should be, because some people would have come in their Krishna Consciousness in the second year or something. Yeah, correct. So basically, by the time you graduate, your final year, things should be clear. If not, you attend Grihastha Ashram, because that is the default. Like in C language, na? Case, switch case statement. Switch case. Default ek niche. I'll just share one joke. So once Bhakti Rasam Maharaj was telling us that if you have a doubt whether I should eat or not eat. Suppose you have a doubt. मैं खाना खाऊं कि नहीं. What should you do? How many of you feel we should eat if you have a doubt, eat or not eat? How many of you feel not eat? Well, we should not eat. Because according to Ayurveda, you should eat only when you are hungry. Without hunger, your fire of digestion is not there. So simply eating is causing problem. In doubt, eat or not to eat, what to do? Not eat. Similarly, use another example. If somebody, suppose you have to go to college at 8 o'clock. At 7:30 you are feeling, maybe I should go to toilet, to clear. So if you have a doubt whether I should go to toilet or not, what should you do? Should go, because if you don't go now, when you go to college at 9 o'clock in the middle of the first and second lecture, you may get, and then you will have to, be in trouble a little bit. There are college ke beech mein ye sab aa gaya to lafda hai. So if you have a doubt in that, you should go. Similarly, if you have doubt, constantly, Brahmacari, Grihasta, what should you do? So somebody has asked also a question. If you are confused, I said that you should go for Grihasta. Why is it like this? The question is being asked. Because indecision is also a characteristic of a Grihasta. That means indecision is also one symptom. Those who are actually, because the general flow of the world is family life and so on. So those who actually want to take to the renounced order, they're very, very clear about it. There is no ambiguity in their minds. Just like I can share my own experience when I started attending Grihasta Prabhu's classes in 1994 when I was a student. There were so many of us, when many of us were friends together, we were about 6 of us actually. And 3 were Brahmacharis. There's Premnidhi Prabhu in Bombay now. This one Gaur Sundar Prabhu is currently in Vrindavan, he's a Brahmachari, and Rajavasi Prabhu is also in Bombay. So they were my classmates, people whom with we came together. And other 3 were actually Grihasta, 3 of us. So I had always noticed that those who wanted to become Brahmachari, they were very clear from the beginning that they want to become Brahmachari. There was not much ambiguity was not there. But those of us who were Grihasta material, we were always confused. We were always soch rahe the, kya karne ka bhai, ye karne ka age wo ye karne. Then after a couple of years, it became clear to us. Our confusion was an indication itself. So it's like that. So the indecision is also an indication. It has to be taken that way. Right? I said, the question is, you said to me, Grihasta is heavy traveler, Brahmachari is light traveler. Does it affect the speed in reaching the goal? Brahmachari reaches faster. Please clarify the doubt. So, that's why we always say that an example should not be stretched beyond a limit. See, this is called Shaka Chandranya. Shaka Chandranya. Example itself is called as Shaka Chandranya. That means there is an example to say why you need examples. So that example is that once a mother was trying to tell a child that there is a moon in the sky. The child was looking, Mama, kidhar hai moon? Dikhai nahi de raha mere ko moon. So the mother said, okay, my dear child, can you see the tree? Child said, yes, tree is here only, I can see the tree. Can you see the 2 branches of the tree? She said, yes, I can see. Look between the 2 branches, there is the moon. Then the child said, now I can see what is the moon. Otherwise the child is looking in the sky, doesn't know only where is the moon. You understood? So Shaka Chandranyaya means showing the moon between the branches. So why we give analogies in Krishna consciousness is because we are giving some concepts which are spiritual, transcendental, which are very difficult for our materialistic mind to catch on immediately. So we show some example, something from the local world. ये पेड़ दिखाई दे रहे हैं आपको 2 branch के, सब लोग बोलते हैं हाँ दिखाई दे रहे हैं, इसके बीच में देखो चांद है. So it's like that. So if we stretch it too much, thinking that actually, if you draw a line from the 2 branches to the moon, will it geometrically fit inside? I mean, if you stretch it too much, then it loses all its meaning. So we cannot stretch it. And similarly, it doesn't mean anything that the Brahmachari, the Grihasta necessarily has to reach slow or something. Actually, advancement in spiritual life, as Prabhupada says, depends on the attitude of the follower. And I mean, there are all kinds of people everywhere. So it would be too much to say. Even if you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intimate disciples and associates, there were several Brahmachari associates and there were several Grihasta associates as well. Like for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramananda Rai and Shivananda Sen and so many Grihasta, Advaita Acharya, they were all Grihastas who were associates of Lord Chaitanya. Similarly, there was Swarup Damodar Goswami, there was Haridas Thakur, there were so many other such Brahmachari or renounced Gadadhar Pandit, renounced followers of Lord Chaitanya. And Mahaprabhu, nowhere you will see that Mahaprabhu distinguished them by trying to say that these people are a little faster and these people are slower or anything like that. You don't see any such discrimination at all. When one of Grihasta disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shivananda Sen, his wife was pregnant for the 3rd time, Mahaprabhu embraced him and named the child before he was born. Mahaprabhu expressed great jubilation that his wife is pregnant. Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi, is tasting Radha Krishna nectar. He did not say that, Vapas pregnant. Chhi, bad news. He didn't say that way. So Mahaprabhu did not distinguish. So that means we understand the Supreme Lord does not say anything like that. Actually, you know what? This has nothing to do with these things. That means even things in our spiritual life, like for example, it is not that. It's not that even in services, if somebody is more a preacher type, he should become a brahmachari. Somebody likes to read more, he's only brahmachari. That means it's nothing like that. I have seen even grihastas who are, very, very fired up in preaching, and brahmacharis also, who are interested in so many different other types of services. So there's nothing, that correlation cannot be made, actually, in terms of services or likings in Krishna conscious domain, in terms of services. You understand what I'm saying? It's not that those devotees who like to read books, they should become brahmachari, and those who like to eat prasad, they become grihastha. It is not like that. I'm just saying. There's no connection like that. There's nothing like that. If one is married to a non-devotee Mataji who has no idea of Krishna consciousness, then how can one lead one's married life in accordance with dharma? Well, it's not possible. It becomes very difficult. One thing is that in India, generally, most women, they may follow their husband's path. That is generally true in India. But still, if the lady who one gets married to is very materialistic, then it will become very difficult. So that is why even if somebody is getting married to some woman who is not a devotee initially, he should connect her to some other devotees in the area who can preach to her and bring her to at least one level of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, life will become very difficult. Or then it will become like actually Andhakupam. It's kind of quite complex. So this has to be taken care through the counselor. So a person should have a counselor whenever you are getting married, and through the counselor one should ensure that the woman is at least of some particular standard. And if not, it's better not to marry her. Please explain more about experience. So usko experience ko highlight kiya hua hai devotee ne. And realization sections of Grihastha. So what is the experience that we are talking of? Well, plain and simple. The experience that we are talking of over here is twofold. One is in terms of physical experience relationship. That means, for example, generally, the nature of the material world or Maya is, that when a young boy, sees a young woman, he's attracted. She looks like a lotus flower walking around, So, that is the illusion that is there. Krishna has created the woman that way. No matter, all of us know the philosophy and everything, but still a beautiful woman looks very attractive, So, the experience basically is that one is under this illusion thinking that, being with her would be very nice and, I'd be very comfortable, cozy, etc. So, one has to actually stay with her if one feels very strongly about it. That's one kind of thing we're talking about experience. And second thing is this emotional thing, which Rasharma was also telling earlier, that, in Brahmacari ashram also emotional experiences are fulfilled. Like, for example, they have brahmachari friends and everything. But if one has a very specific or extra quotient of that, then only Grihastha ashram can fulfill that. Brahmacari ashram is not possible. That's always somebody is patting your back or, ensuring that everything you need is done. It may not be possible. You are more on your own. Now I'll tell you another very interesting thing. That generally according to the Shastra, the woman who is there, she needs emotional support from the man. But actually speaking, the man doesn't get so much emotional support from the woman also. He does not. But this is something to be realized. After several years of married life, a person understands it is not a matter of theory. When one gets married and one stays with a woman for a long time, one understands that actually she is not giving me, from the emotional perspective, not too much, but actually I am only giving her. And in doing that, whatever my need was, it is got fulfilled. That's all. That's how life is actually.
I add one point. Actually, women require a husband who is a good listener. They like to talk and talk and talk. And at the same time, they don't like a man who is lusty after them, chasing after them. He has to be mature, he has to be spiritually advanced, and keeps on listening and smiling. Very nice. Yes, go on. For that, you can join Brahmacari ashram only, no? But if a man is after the woman and he doesn't want to listen to her, he gets into a quick fix solution giving mode. Then woman will become like Brahmacari. But this is how Krishna has created the nature in such a way that Man imagines that she can give pleasure.
Yeah.
It's only an imagination. But actually, women and men both have come in this world in a Purusha Bhav. Purusha Bhav means to enjoy, exploit. And enjoy means, what can this man do for me? Can he get me a good house? Can he give me a car? Can he give me money for this, money for that? I have so much expenditure. Similarly, he also thinks, I will marry her and enjoy her. She's beautiful. I'll use her like a sex machine. Man thinks like that. And both are thinking, like that. They come, both, and they try to enjoy each other, and there's a big fight. That is why in Grihasta ashram also, when a man and woman are coming, both have to be trained in devotion service. Krishnakshar Prabhu specifically, he started one sabha called Janav Sabha, Janav Devi Sabha. That is especially for girls 4-5 years before their marriage, to be trained in with what attitude they should go into the Grihasta ashram. Just like Nityananda Sabha boys are trained for 4-5 years before marriage. Because if both are going into Bhogavritti mode, see Seva Vritti versus Bhogavritti. Which Vritti is proper? Yeah. Seva Vritti means, he thinks she is my partner and actually we both will do Krishna consciousness together. We'll go to temple, we'll hear the lectures, we'll take satsanga nicely. If they are spiritually oriented, there is no problem. Even in family life, they will be peaceful. So, Param Pujya Radhana Swami Maharaj used to say, between the couple, there should be a divine couple. Who is divine couple? Yeah. If between the couple Radha Krishna are there, they are peaceful. You remove Radha Krishna, you try to enjoy each other, then big problem. You understand, no?
Yeah, so basically, this what I said also, actually, it will not again, many times in our Nityananda Sabha camps, we speak all this, our boys take it down, then after many years of getting married, they come and tell us, Prabhuji, wo jo bataya tha, wo lecture aaj samjha. Bola, that is actually the point, that experience was important, you couldn't have understood. So somebody else is asking over here, can we get the experience by seeing others who have taken Grihasta ashram? That is Brahmacari ashram. Where without your own experience, by seeing others' examples, you understand. So if somebody can do that, then that is, for him to decide. But what I am talking about here is, in the Grihasta life, a person needs that experience himself. That's how it is. Yeah. Right? Can I be only Grihasta and not Grihasta Brahmachari? I exactly don't know what it means, the difference between the two. But generally, the word Grihasta Brahmachari that we use, it is only in the... Actually, there is nothing like that, actually. There is nothing like Grihasta Brahmachari or there is this... It is just sometimes, our boys, they feel very strongly that, that the Brahmachari tag has to be attached to my name. So, they feel that if I am called as Grihasta Brahmachari, I will feel nice. But actually, Grihasta Ashram itself, what it basically means is living under some rules and regulations. When you live like that, then you become Grihasta Brahmachari. Like, for example, having sex with the wife only for having a child and, by chanting 50 rounds, etc. If you live like that, then you are Grihasta Brahmachari. Or you are a Grihasta, that's all. Right? So, there is no such terminology does not exist actually.
Yeah. See, in one foreign temple, they made this, how many of you know carob cake? Carob cake? Actually, it's a cake with carob. Carob actually tastes like cocoa, like cocoa chocolate. It tastes like that, exactly like cocoa, but it's not cocoa. So they had made a very beautiful, round, big carob cake for some festival. And everybody, on the top they had cream and cherry and plum and so many things. Everybody's tongue was secreting saliva. When are they going to cut the cake and serve? So when they cut the cake and served devotees, one devotee picked up the cake and with great expectation he put in his mouth. And then it was saltish. Instead of sweet. He was surprised. He was shocked. How is it? He thought maybe I'm biting the wrong side, maybe I'll try another side. When he took another side and he bit again that was saltish. Then they realized, they were thinking we are putting pitti sakar, In the name of putting pitti sakar, they put sodium chloride. So what came out was a cake which appeared like a... Similarly, woman's form is very beautiful from a distance. It's only very nice for seeing only, that's all. When you go near, you get special realizations. See, there are still why the marriage ashram is kept, there is a reason I'll tell you. The Shastra says 3 types of karma. Vihita karma, Kamya karma, Nishtha karma. For example, a child is going with parents in a car, big car, imagine an Innova car or something. And the parents are going and parking the car close to the ocean, beach side. And the mother is telling the child, beta, car ke andar hi kelo bas, bahar mat jao. And the child is peeping through the window, Mom, the ocean is so beautiful, can I go there? She says, dangerous for you. No. But the child is begging the mother, please, 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 just open the door of the car. At least I will play in the beach. And the mother takes a promise. You will play in the beach, but you will not go to the ocean. You should not go and touch the water. Promise? Child promises. So because of the overall good of the child, mother and father allow the child to open the door and they allow him to make a sand castle or something, play in the seashore. And he's playing. After some time, the sun is setting and the mom is calling, beta come now, we are going home now. He just leaves the sand castle and comes back and boards the car and goes away. In the same manner, the Shastras say, living within the car means strictly adhering to Shastric injunctions without demanding any other desire other than what instructions are given in scriptures. Understood now? Now, Kamya karma means pleasurable activities which are permitted by the parents. For example, Dasharath is marrying 3 wives. Some kings are allowed to marry. That's called Kamya karma. A king should marry 1 wife, that is Vihita karma. If he is marrying 3, 4 wives, it's called Kamya karma. But if a king is going to a prostitute, that is Nishtha karma. You understand, no? Similarly, for example, the Vihita karma is there. What Krishna is, Man mana, mama mad bhakto, madhyaji, mam namaskuru. Think of me, chant, dance, cleanse your heart, come back to God. And Krishna says, you just do that, Vihita karma, you can be happy. But many of the people, 99% of the people in the world will not be satisfied with that. They will have some Kamya karma will be there. We want to do something. Please, Krishna, can I do that also? Then Krishna says, okay, I have faith in your sincerity. Now I'll allow you only in the seashore. So there is Kamya karma allowed. So Kamya karma is actually dovetailable desires. Dovetailable means a Grihasta ashrama is allowed for some people if they want to take that. Dovetailable desires. And the ocean means prohibited desires. So that's very dangerous. For example, this is Guru's instruction, which is Vihita karma. This is Kamya karma. This is Nishidha karma. So now, for example, just chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regs strictly. Every morning get up and do this activity all life. And don't marry if you say. Some people try this. And later on, if the desires are not attended, they may fall to Nishidha karma. So in order to avoid that, they are allowed to come to Kamya karma. Similarly, in the Brahmacari ashram, what brahmacharis do, instruction is, this is the platform. Vihita karma means Shuddha bhakti, you practice. But then all people cannot study Shastra all the time, chanting Hare Krishna all the time, seeing the deities of the Lord all the time. They have some inside the Kama karma bees are pushing. Hey, do some activity, kuch karke dikhana hai duniya ko bhi hai. Maybe kuch main kam nahi hu. We have some desire to do some things. So we all, how many of you honestly tell me you have a desire to get success in short world? Honestly. Correct now? We all have desire. So that is actually Kama karma. It's inside, it's, something we want to do which no one has done. And we want applause from people. Correct, no? So that is why in Brahmacari ashram also there are many activities one can do, like book distribution, you can do youth preaching, you can do. We in fact give one college to one Brahmacari also. Take this IIT, take this NIT, take this college. Of course we have 10,000 colleges in India, we can allot. So they go and they preach and they make devotees. And then, of course, initially the desire is there. Gradually, yasya sarve samaramba kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagda karmanam tamahuhu panditam buddhaha. Krishna says, while doing the activities, the fellow realizes, hey, these fruits I should not enjoy. I should offer it to Guru and Krishna. And how he offers it, jnanagni dagda karmanam. When the wisdom dawns, he offers all the fruits to Guru and Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. Finally, all glories to Sri Guru. And what glory for me? Nothing. I don't take anything. Then he becomes Pandita. Tamahuhu, Panditam. One Pandita is called Pandita Samadarshina. And this is another Pandita, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Offers the fruit. So that means Kamya karma becomes purified for Brahmachari also. Correct now? Brahmachari also has desires. It's not that Brahmacharis are all completely liberated, so they have no desire or something. So instead of having wife, children, family and achieving success in that direction, they are trying to achieve success in another direction, offering the fruits to Guru also. So Prabhupada made this big movement. huge movement, and we have lot of challenges of like just like now we are doing GPL now. You know, Gita Premier League. You see? Brahmacharis are going and distributing in colleges, and they are bringing a big score, and the score is being announced in the morning. They may, of course, anybody may feel a secret happiness in the heart. हमारा नाम अभी भी अनाउंस हो गया अभी. कोई पूछेंगे प्रभु जी 200 गीता कैसे किया आपने? वाह वाह, सब गुरु की कृपा प्रभु जी, हमारा भी थोड़ा शक्ति प्रभु जी. So in this way there are kamya karma in brahmacharya ashram also, but nishiddha karma should be avoided completely.
So there are a lot of questions ahead. You are saying that in Grihasta life renunciation comes after experiencing material happiness, but my concern is that I'm throwing it down there. But my concern is that such a concept may lead us to have philosophy similar to those institutions which believe in super consciousness through sense gratification. That means, like for example, some folks say samadhi tak, you know. Or like for example, there is one ashram in Pune which is very famous where they teach such philosophy. See, there is a difference between what they are saying and what we are saying over here. Please note that what these people are saying is that by unlimited sense gratification,
You'll get frustrated.
you will get Krishna consciousness. You will get realization. Now let me tell you, that philosophy is also said in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam has everything. In the 7th canto, Narada Muni says that sometimes to off a fire, if you pour too much ghee in it, the fire will get off. But that method is very dangerous. And hence no Acharya recommends it. Because the fire may only increase also simply. You understood? So that method is also mentioned in the Shastra. But it is mentioned with great caution. And Acharyas say that, Narada Muni says it's a very dangerous method. Hey, aisa method hai. बहुत dangerous is method. It's not recommended. You understood? But what we are saying over here, this experience which we are talking in Grihasta Ashram, it is bound by a lot of rules and regulations. It is not what they are saying. This one, these kind of organizations, they are talking about unrestricted enjoyment, which leads to realization. That's not what we are saying. We are saying is that enjoyment is limited by, rules and regulations, right? So there's a difference in the two. Okay. It is said that men are meant for self-realization and women are meant for destruction of self-realization. And even if devotees, Matajis have a natural tendency to accumulate things, and for coming years we see that we are still engaged in our material possessions, even after knowing analogy that we can use it for Krishna service, but it does not happen. Well, so this question has an inherent understanding or idea that men are, very, very spiritual, intelligent, and women are all, Stri means, one who expands the field of material enjoyment. We hear that in our class, But it is not like that actually. This is a very individual thing. And in fact, in general, Prabhupada also says many positive things about women. If you see, for example, Prabhupada says that, most women, they have a natural attraction for God, much more than a man. Like I will tell you honestly, they're religious and pious. Like most women, Matajis I have seen, none of them ever have any question in terms of, some scientific advancement and, like Darwin philosophy, this, that, They don't have these problems only. They're very naturally attracted to God actually. In fact, even in the realm of sense control, it is generally seen that men have a lot of lust problem, physical sex requirement. But women don't have even that. They have only some emotional requirement. Actually, woman's thing is, the Shastra says that everyone has two sides of the brain. One is emotional and one is intellectual. For men, either side works at a time. That means either a man can be very, very emotional or he can be just intellectual. You understood? That's why men can take sannyas. Because intellectually they can see everything. That ye maya hai, I have had cat father, dog father, mosquito father, vaisa I had a father this life. And he can just cut. Because intellectually, that means only intellectually also a man can see. But a woman, she is unable to do that. The Shastra says that for a woman, the intellectual and the emotional side both work parallelly always. So a woman can never cut. A woman can never cut the attachment. Because even if you tell her that, you have received so many father and mother, she will feel, but after all, this is my father and mother only. Aisa kaisa bol sakte ho aap. So that is their weakness, so to speak, that they have a more emotional attachment. But I wouldn't say that, they are hardcore materialist bound to, that's a very negative way of seeing women. In fact, many of them have, they have much, and in fact, I'll tell you honestly, like in ISKCON, in the West and in so many places today, women's contribution is unfathomable actually. Because of them, so many things in our movement have actually gone ahead. So it's a very wrong way of seeing women this way. Do we need to...
In fact, very surprisingly, we found that some of the boys, even after so much voice training and everything, they go out and they work for 3-4 years and they get married. And after marriage, some of them have become very dull in spiritual life, and the wives are fed up with them. That the boy is becoming too materialistic, working 16 hours a day, making money and becoming more materialistic. And the wives are very serious about spiritual, coming to temple and taking advantage of programs and services and everything. And they have to instruct the husband. Surprisingly, in Kali Yuga, everything is topsy-turvy. Husband is supposed to instruct the wife, but there are very few strong husbands. Many times, wives are like husbands and husbands are like wives. It's very unfortunate.
Generally, because the man has more problem in the gross domain. The woman, their problems are on the subtle domain, emotional, not so much on the gross domain. So they don't have so much sensual problems actually. They never have. That is how reality is in the world. Do we need to continue till 50 years Grihasta life? Or we can come to Brahmacari somewhere in the middle after getting the experience. So basically he's trying to ask that I'll get married at the age of 25. By 30 I got the experience, walk out. It's very, it's a very it doesn't work that way because it's a responsibility for life. You cannot do that. It's not that, मेरा काम हो गया. मैं experience आ गया अभी. प्रभु जी experience हो गया मेरे को. Experience हो गया, सब कुछ समझ गया. अभी मैं आ रहा हूँ वापस मंदिर join करने को. ये नहीं चलेगा. Okay, so once you are there till 50, even beyond. Whatever is required has to be done. Is it necessary to beget child in Grihasta ashram? Well, yeah, generally that's the purpose to get married. Without that, why a person gets married if he doesn't want children in the first place? Because that also has a lot of teaching. So please remember, it's not, first of all, it's a service, and also, there are many things a Grihasta learns through his children as well. So it is not to be seen as a headache or anything. Anyway, we talk all these things in great detail in our Nityananda Sabha camps, why it is needed. But the short answer is, yes, it is needed. According to you, in Confucian, we should choose Grihastha ashrama. But in Brahmacari ashrama, there is still some chance to change the ashrama in the middle. But in Grihastha ashrama, it is impossible. You cannot change in the middle. So isn't Brahmacari ashram, the default or the safer situation? See, it's like this. See, one thing is certainly true that, even if one is a brahmachari for some time and later he shifts to Grihastha ashram, there is as such, that's fine. That's correct in a way. Like, for example, we have had some of my good friends like Shankar Pandit Prabhu, Shambhav Prabhu, they have Brajanand Prabhu. They were brahmacharis for several years, and they later switched over to Grihastha ashrama. They got a job. They're doing very well actually. So that is fine. But it's like this Grihastha ashrama it is not something that, I'll just walk in and walk out. It's not possible like that. The way the whole thing is, it's a lifetime commitment.
Life of responsibility.
It's a life of responsibility. It's a life commitment. Okay. But the point is, if one is unsure, for a long time, see what I was trying to say is that if one is unsure and see, most of you are now, I think, 17 or 18 years, right? If you have to get married, typically the marriage is at the age of 24 or 25. So you have 5-6 good number of years in your Krishna consciousness. So in this much time, if you have to actually be a brahmachari, you will get that strong desire and conviction within yourself that you want to do it. But after 4-5 years of practice of Krishna consciousness, if you are still unsure, then it just means that you are not meant for that situation. Then in that case, simply, postponing the inevitable doesn't make any sense actually. That's what I'm saying. Is attraction towards one's wife sinful or not? It's not. Because if one is not attracted towards one's wife, one may get attracted to another's wife. Which is sinful. Yeah. So it's better to be attracted to one's wife, rather than maintain an artificial distaste towards one's wife. And honestly, it has happened. There are places in the world where people got married and they decided that, they will stay away from the wife. They will put the wife in one room and they will stay in another. Many concepts they came up with. And eventually, such people, they fell down to some other woman. So this is very dangerous. So anyway, all these things again we talk in our Nityanand Sabha camps, how to handle this particular thing. Would you like to take some questions before I go ahead?
Yeah. Are brahmacharis given preference over grihastas for taking initiation from chosen spiritual master? No. There is no difference between brahmachari and grihastha in terms of initiation. Whenever you finish 3-4 years of 16 rounds and your seniors see that you are sincere, serious and properly situated, they will send you for initiation irrespective of your ashram. After practicing brahmacharya for many years and leaving job, if one feels to join grihastha ashram, but he will not have any income source, for that what will you say about that? No, I told you, you are a qualified man, you will get a job, and some of you may come from families where you also have parents who will give you house and other support and everything. But one who joins brahmacharya ashram should be willing to take some amount of calculated risk. No pains, no gains. So, yes, there may be some risk. Like one of the brahmachari, Shankar Pandit Prabhu, when he joined after 5-6 years of ashram life, he had a desire to take care of his mother, father and wanted to stay with them. And when he left the ashram, within a 6 months period, he got a very good job in Bangalore. Fidelity Company was paying him 7-8 lakh per annum. He was a brahmachari for 5-6 years. But he was such a perfect gentleman and very intelligent and very responsible. So many companies are not just looking for marks and scores. They are looking for good people who will take responsibility nicely. So it shouldn't be difficult to get a job and settle in life. And other devotees, congregation also come forward to help. Some people say couples are coming from heaven. So what happens to our partner when we join Brahmacharya ashram? Then your partner has to marry somebody else. Actually, see, the destiny is very dynamic. You know that?
Yeah.
I'll tell you an example. How many of you know Brahmin cobbler story? You all know Brahmin cobbler story, correct? So, Narada Muni heard from Vishnu and came back and told the Brahmana that you will take, millions of lifetimes to go back to Vaikuntha. Whereas the cobbler will go back to Godhead in this very life. Correct, no? He told. So, one boy was asking, hey, that means everything is destined. Lord Vishnu knows when we will go back. So, then why should I work hard? Whenever I am supposed to go back, I will go back. People say like that, but it's not true. Actually, there is another story of one Mukunda. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave mercy to so many devotees, but not to Mukunda, because Mukunda would sometimes go to Mayavadi, sometimes come to Vaishnavas. So Mahaprabhu was upset with him. He said, for next 10 million births, I will not see the face of Mukunda. Like that he said. When Mukunda overheard this from devotees, he started dancing, saying that I will see the Lord after 10 million births. He has not neglected me. So I will see, he said, he started dancing.
Only 10 million births.
Yeah, only 10 million births.
births.
Like that. Mahaprabhu, you know what he said? Call him here immediately, he said. And immediately he embraced him and gave him his mercy. So what does this show? That the destiny is very dynamic. Although the Lord said 10 million births, because he showed such enthusiasm in surrendering to the Lord gave his mercy immediately. Same way if the Brahmana heard this from Narada, that will take him millions of births, he cried tears and fell at Narada's feet. He said, please kindly tell the Lord to forgive me, I want to become a proper devotee. In that very life, he will also go back to Godhead. Understand? Huh? So it's very dynamic. Similarly, in case, imagine that one of you, in your astrology it says that you will have a wife and 4 children, for example. But you developed a strong desire to join Brahmacharya ashram. Then what happens? When you join the ashram, the Kama Karma Bij will do kudu inside. Because those are the Kama Karma Bij which are supposed to produce children for you. Correct, no? You need a woman, you need the touch, you need the babies. But you are saying no to it. So little trouble will be there. The downward vector will be there. So you have to counteract the downward vector by upward vector of intense chanting. So there are 2 ways. Either you burn the Kama Karma Bij with the seeds by frying. Jnanagni dagda karmanam bhasmasat gurute tata. Krishna says, Yata edam samiddhognir bhasmasat gurute Arjuna. Jnanagni dagda karmani bhasmasat gurute tata. By enlightenment you can fry away those seeds. Another way, Rupa Goswami explains, he says that you can drown the seeds in Krishna conscious bliss, chanting, dancing, taking darshan of deities, reading about the beauty of Krishna from the Shastras, developing a firm faith in Krishna's name, form, pastimes, qualities, activities. So much juice you get in the heart. That juice drowns the seeds of Kama Karma Bij and they all get rotten, because rotten seeds don't germinate. So either by bhakti juice or by jnana fire, finish it off. Then there are people who have become renunciates, although their astrology says another thing. So astrology has navagrahas here, which are controlling you, but when you advance in bhakti, you are taken from this shelter to Krishna's shelter. So now Krishna is controlling and navagrahas are looking at Krishna, they can't do anything. Mamevi e prapadyante. Yeah.
Suppose in Grihasta ashram wife dies, then can we take sannyas? Is it possible? Well, the qualification to take sannyas is not that the death of the wife. I'll just tell you an interesting anecdote, true story. In the South Indian tradition, Sri Vaishnava tradition, one man's wife died, one devotee's wife died, and he went to his Guru and said, Guru Maharaj, please give me sannyas. So Guru asked, what is your qualification? He said, well, my wife died, and I have got so much realization by this time that I don't even cry, when she died. That is my qualification. So he said, the Guru said, so many years your wife served you so nicely, you couldn't cry for her. How will you cry for Krishna? You better go back and get remarried. So the point basically is that sannyas has nothing to do with the death of the wife. The main point is whether one is qualified at that level. If one is qualified, then whether one's wife is alive or dead, one can still take sannyas at that time.
And the qualification is detachment from matter, attachment to Krishna. Yeah. Please repeat this verse. Maya sakta mana partha.
Maya sakta mana partha.
Yogam yunjan madashrayah.
Yogam yunjan madashrayah.
Asamshayam samagrammam.
Samagrama.
Yata ajñasyasi tat shrunu. My dear Arjuna, I will tell you how you can develop your loving attachment for me. Like the Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 7.1. Beautiful verse. So Bhagavad Gita is meant for teaching us not detachment but attachment. Attachment to whom? Krishna. Yeah. Yes to Krishna, no to Maya. That is actual enunciation. Yeah.
In Grihastha life, a person has to go outside many times compared to Brahmacharis. This means that the person is under great influence of Maya. So how Grihastha is good for Krishna consciousness compared to Brahmachari? Well, as I was saying that, certainly the danger which is there in family life is that the responsibility to come to temple, take shelter is on one's own. You understood? That means the responsibility to associate with devotees, everything is on oneself. Yeah, so there is an example of the hospital. So just like in a hospital, what happens, there are two types of patients. There are the admitted patients and there are the OPD patients. So several times you will see that if suppose one has a critical disease, the doctor advises that the person should be admitted. So why should he be admitted? Because when he is admitted, there is constant monitoring. The nurses, doctors, everybody are going around 4 or 5 times a day. They can immediately check parameters, etc. Even a very critical patient can stay at home. But then the only thing is that he and his family members have to take that responsibility to take care of the patient. Because if something serious happens, then they should be able to do something over there. You understand? So the Brahmacari ashram is compared to the admitted patient. Because all of us are patients only. The very fact that we got material body means we are a patient in this world. We are not yet freed from our the logical and the bugs of the software in our mind. We are not free from that. So that's why we are sitting here. All of us are patients. So the admitted patient has the advantage that he is under constant guru's monitoring, which is like the doctor who is seeing, the nurses, the counselors, everybody are roaming around the patient. But the Grihastha is at home, so he has that responsibility. He has to take responsibility of his own disease. So that is why I was saying earlier also that for the Grihastha, the Brahmacari training is very important. This voice training and everything which you have for 6-7 years now before a person gets married is very important. Because that lays the foundation for you so that see, in a young age, free will cannot be, you cannot be given too much of free choice. But if you use your free will now nicely, then later when you get the facility, then you will be able to use your free will in moderation. Otherwise, a person will be in trouble. That's for sure.
I am the only son of my parents. I don't know how well they will react if I join Brahmacari ashram, how to convince them. Actually, we have a good number of devotees who are single sons in their homes, like Bhakti Maharaj, Krishnanand Prabhu, Shyamanand Prabhu, and myself also. Many others also. We are one son only. Actually, certainly no parent are going to respond very sweetly to you when you say, I want to join. Huh? Actually, even a boy who is going for the army, joining army, many mother father may cry when the battle comes. Correct? No, they may not want to allow the son to go. But the son who has taken training in the battalion for a few years, when the war comes, he has to go and fight the battle. Similarly, leaving home and going is necessary. But if first of all you should decide, you may be a single son, but do you really want to join ashram? If you say yes, then there are training programs. How to actually make the situation favorable to bring them to a point where they won't mind you practicing. And it has happened. There are a good number of brahmacharis in our ashram who are single sons. And it is possible. Where there is a will,
Yeah. If someone comes in Krishna consciousness late and has to marry 2 years immediately after that, how does ISKCON marriage board go ahead with that? See, that means in a marriage board which we have, it's not that everybody is of the same status as a devotee. We have cases where somebody is a devotee for 25 years, since birth is a devotee. And we have some cases where yesterday, last 6 months back only became a devotee. So basically when we match also, we match accordingly only. Because on either side we have all kinds of cases and data with us. So nowadays we have everything on Excel sheet with all the data, so it becomes quite easy to look at all those things. So you don't have to worry. In Grihasta ashram, can it happen that wife also works? Well, about this also we have at least 2-3 sessions in our Nityanand Sabha. What happens if the wife is working? Generally speaking, it is better that the wife is at home, because otherwise how is it possible? Like I was telling you, today I am here with all of you. In my house there are some 5-6 guests who are there. Because my wife is at home, I am able to sit here. If she is also working somewhere, how can I come like that? It becomes quite complex actually. So ideally, the wife should be housewife only. That is better. But we talk about this in detail in our Nityanand Sabha classes.
what are the qualifications required to join Brahmacari ashram? First of all, you should have some positive taste for hearing the philosophy, performing devotional activities like Mangalarti program, chanting and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. You require a positive taste for this kind of activities. Plus, there should be a zeal for reaching out this sublime spiritual message to the suffering souls out there. Like I got the good fortune of Krishna consciousness in my life, so I should not keep it with myself. I should go and give it to others. So the Brahmacari ashram is mainly meant for, as I told you, to develop our depth in remembering Krishna and also to give it out to the suffering soul. These are very important considerations. But some of you may have fear that I cannot become a preacher, I can't remember so much philosophy, nor am I too philosophically oriented. And there are also devotees who do other services, like they do pujari services or backup services. Some devotees may stay in the ashram and do some services. There are many services, in-house services also. But you should be willing to stay in the ashram and go on and on, satisfied and happy. That's most important. Satisfied and happy in doing the services and fulfilling all the basic requirements of morning program, brahmachari classes and whatever rules, regulations are said, follow it. And if you can go on and on without a woman, that's the only condition. One should not be staring at women who are coming, and one should not be hankering for a woman, one should not look for some pornography sites, one should not be calling a woman on phone and trying to establish relationship with other women. But one should peacefully, calmly focus on the Shastras, both study and practice. And one should be satisfied and happy in that, in the company of other Vaishnavas. Then this is the basic qualification for Brahmachari life.
I have heard from senior voice devotees that if one has completed most of his Krishna consciousness, then he should take to Brahmacari ashram. But Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Parikshit Maharaj were pure devotees and Grihastas for a long period of their life. So is this statement necessarily true? Well, it need not be actually, because if you see again, just like these examples, if you see Shastra in general, like for example, I was hearing recently that in Ramayana, one character is Dasharatha. And one Sri Vaishnavacharya, he explains that how Dasharatha, I'm sure all of you know the story of Dasharatha, so I have nothing to say in that, but how Dasharatha represents how that there can be souls in this world who have a great love for Krishna or Rama, but at the same time, they're struggling because of an attachment to a woman. Because if you see Dasharatha, his whole life, there were only two people who were most important in Dasharatha's life. One was Rama, his son, whom he was greatly attached to and he loved him phenomenally. And on the other hand, a great problem in Dasharatha's life was his attachment to Kaikeyi. Because Valmiki repeatedly mentions in the Ramayana that Kaikeyi was very young and beautiful and Dasharatha, and she was Dasharatha's favorite wife. He repeatedly mentions this. And it was that only came as a stumbling block in his, love for Ram. You see this point? So that means he represents a contradiction that how a person, has a lot of love for God, but at the same time is stuck because of her attachment. Of course, in one way we can see Dasharatha is a pure devotee and he's actually, he's just put into that role, or whatever. That is one way. But in another way, when we see from adhyatmic level, that means from a personal level, this is the lesson that we see. So there are so many such cases we see, like for example, we see Bilva Mangal Thakur. He was a very advanced personality actually. But somehow in this life he was attached to this prostitute Chittapati. When he was freed from it, he just shot ahead. So it is not necessarily so like that. So I don't think that we should have any such conceptions. Yep.
See, if you join NS, people might say that he is lusty, he wants sense pleasure. So how to deal with it? So actually when you join Nityananda Sabha, you can always tell people that actually my parents need me and I have some responsibilities at home and I feel more comfortable in a life with my parents and with marriage. And also, it is not that those who are married people are all the time with women enjoying. They have so many responsibilities to do, and our body doesn't have capacity also to enjoy all the time. So, and we don't have money also. So, in this world, you can see 90% of their time and energy goes in making two ends meet in this world. So many responsibilities are there. So people who think the way he has written are actually immature people. So don't take immature, superficial people too seriously. Don't worry about what others will think of me. You worry about what Krishna will think of me. Because ultimately you are doing, it's between you and God. You are following the path of married life for pleasing Guru and Krishna. So don't worry about others.
And ultimately, if somebody has such a problem actually, because of which he is going to get married, it is very important to face it. See, if we have to solve any problem in our life, the first step is to face it ourselves, honestly. If you are in a mood of denial that I don't have this problem, that doesn't help us in any way. So there's no point in just to maintain the so-called prestige, that I am a great celibate tyagi, to say something externally which we are not. There's no point actually. Many times we find that parents are having typical Indian mentality, means they want that their son should get married to a perfect lady. Then how to, get connected to ISKCON marriage board, etc. Because parents will have plenty of needs about the woman. See, one thing is very important that, on the material platform, a person can never be satisfied. So even if you are going to become a Grihasta, please do not imagine that you will 100% satisfy your parents. That will never happen. It cannot happen because by virtue of the laws of the material world, you cannot satisfy any person materially completely. So we understand that life is all about a bargain. It's like you settle for some things very realistically. We have seen some boys who have imagined.
Your point you can ask. You can read
If we think that eventually we can make our parent devotees, then can we be sure that even if we get married, we become good devotees? I didn't understand.
Yeah. That means if parents also become devotees, your wife is a devotee, the whole family is devotee. So can we be sure that we'll be happy in Grihasta ashram?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the first point, the first thing is that, materially you can never, satisfy anyone like that completely. So even parents, that way it will be very difficult. So we have to be very reasonable with them. We have to tell them, actually what is important for us. Maybe if they are too strong on their own things, you can, tell them that you are going to join. Sometimes that helps. Then they will say, oh, beta, you are joining, better marry anyone, it's okay. Then you can tell them, okay, we will do like this. Then they will at least be happy. That is also one strategy.
Is it okay to change Sabha after we choose one? How much would we be missing lectures and camps of the other Sabha? That will be affected if one happens to switch someday. Yes, you can change GS to NS, NS to GS anytime. And in case you miss the lectures, you can hear the recordings. No problem. Don't worry. Because the other side of the mountain is always green sometimes. Huh? So don't think you will miss anything. You can hear the recordings.
Yeah, if a couple after marriage cannot have a child, how should they think at that time for the advancement in Krishna consciousness? Well, these things are not in one's hand. See, the bottom line is that, like in Bhagavatam, you have all kind of stories. You have stories of devotees whose children became nice devotees. Like, for example, Yudhishthir. His son was Abhimanyu, his son was Parikshit, all great devotees. His son was Janamejaya, even greater devotee. All great devotees. You have stories like Chitraketu, who never had a child, but still he was very nice. You have stories like Maharaj Anga, whose child was a big demon. And he was thanking Krishna. He was saying that, Krishna, so nice, I got a son who is a demon. Because if I had a devotee child, I would have been attached to it. And I wouldn't have been able to renounce home. Because this fellow is so demonic, it is very easy for me to give up home. So of course, when you read that story, you should not think that everybody's child should become a demon, so that we have that lesson. What it means is, yena kena prakarena. Whatever situation Krishna has put you in, whether your child is a great devotee, whether he is a big demon, whether there's no child at all, still you engage in Krishna consciousness. That's all.
That's the ultimate. Prabhuji told about Brahmacari, which is of two types. Can you please tell me about Bhishma, in which type of Brahmacari ashram he belongs to? See, Bhishma is Naishtika Brahmacari, but he never married also, although he was given permission later on by Satyavati also. He didn't marry, he remained celibate, and that was glorified by the devatas by showering flowers, calling him Bhishma, which is Brihad Vrata. Huh? And can I become Brahmachari without...
One second, can I just add something? The one intent behind that question is also perhaps, if I guessed right, he's not living under an ashram of a guru. That's why that person is asking that question. I want to just take that. See, it's like this. These are extreme exceptions, and which are arranged in a particular situation, etc. This is not the recommendation of the Shastra or the Acharyas. No one is recommending it. It just somehow happens in the life of some person. But you cannot take that as a norm and make that into an example. You cannot do that. That cannot be done.
Yeah, correct.
Because that is generally the intent of such questions.
You all know why Bhishma didn't marry. You know that, no?
His father wanted him.
Yeah. Can I become Brahmachari without giving up onion garlic? See, if you can become Brahmachari, onion garlic is very easy to give up. Such a chota thing. Not a very difficult thing.
If you can give up woman, you can give up onion.
You are giving up everything of the world. Onion garlic is chota mota, very easy to give up. Prabhuji, how should we tell what our ashrama is to one of our seniors who had tried to check whether we are renounced enough for Brahmachari ashram? And had, further is saying, and had done Balotpadita preaching to us before. Here I had previously thought on a mental platform, but I wish to change now. You can tell about that.
See, as I told you, there are two problems generally I've noticed with our boys in general. Because I've been in this system for the last 20 years almost. See, one thing is that, most of our boys, because of their intellectual and IIT or whatever engineering background, they strongly feel, जो बेस्ट है वही करना चाहिए हम अगर कर्मी बनेंगे तो बेस्ट कर्मी बनेंगे बेस्ट सेंस एंजॉयर भक्त बनना है बेस्ट डिवोटी कौन नहीं आएगा बेस्ट डिवोटी वैसा बनने का मुझे सभा कौन सा सभा बेस्ट है ब्रह्मचारी बेस्ट है ना ये लोग बोलते हैं इसे रास्ता भी चलेगा लेकिन एक्चुअली ब्रह्मचारी बेस्ट वही बनना है मुझे the general outlook of most of our boys sometimes is that, I have to do, this is actually coming out of false ego sometimes. And I'll tell you, most of the people who suffer are Nityananda Sabha boys only, not the Gauranga Sabha boys. Because a person who has decided genuinely to become Brahmachari, he will follow that path and he nicely become. But this fellow unnecessarily suffers a lot. So as I was telling you earlier, we have to be honest with ourselves first. So if somebody like this is feeling internally that I have to get married, this is my particular situation, you should not be in a self-denial mode. You should first accept it.
Ekadashi example.
Yeah, we have told about the example of Ekadashi already.
That you didn't tell, you told?
I told. Yeah, I told. Let this Ekadashi. I was telling you the example of Ekadashi, right? Suppose a person needs it, then you should be able to tell it. You should be able to tell your senior as well, very openly. Being open, it relieves a lot of your stress. Otherwise, this khichdi will keep cooking inside the pressure cooker of your heart. And later, such boys, eventually what has to happen will happen. So, at that time it will just be more painful and everything. Even maybe that devotee who preached strongly will have high hopes from you and it will unnecessarily get shattered. So, better
Sometimes there is a foolish idea
Yeah.
that so many of my equal friends are joining GS, and if I don't join, I will let down my senior.
Yeah.
That's a wrong notion actually. Or there are also seniors who may be immature saying that please try GS, Nobody should say try Gaurang Sabha. It's very bad. Yeah. So, actually, if any senior is immaturely behaving with you, you can also go to his senior also and say that, Prabhuji, my senior wants me to try Brahmacari, but I don't want to try. I want to marry. Please kindly you explain to him. Then his senior will explain to him.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions about becoming, if a person gets married, he may get attached to woman, relatives, money, and so many things, and he may lose his Krishna consciousness. So one thing is that one should have affection for one's family members. As I was telling you about that anecdote, of that person who lost his wife and claimed that I never cried a tear for her. His guru rejected him. So one should have affection for one's family members. Attachment is obviously bad because that's from the perspective of enjoying it as such from one's own thing. Affection should be there and one should take care of all those things very nicely. The bottom line is that if we are very careful to be in the association of devotees, like for example in the Grihasta ashram also is a counselor system, there are Bhakti Shastri programs that we run for Grihastas, we run Bhagavatam study circles, so these things are there. So if one, and one can also, such a beautiful temple is there, not only here, in so many cities in the world, Prabhupada has made so many wonderful temples. So if one takes to the association of devotees properly and stays like that, then one will get the strength, where one can have all these things and yet, focus on Krishna nicely. It's possible. That is the art of whatever, family life.
See, he says he gets occasional nightfalls, even though he has tried some method told by seniors to stop it, spiritual seniors, but he doesn't feel that it is working for a long time. You see, sometimes there is a nightfall due to heavy eating at night. Imagine at 9 o'clock somebody eats a plate full of prasad. Then the heavy prasad applies up pressure on the pelvis and it releases the semen. That's one reason. Also, if the nightfall is accompanied by a bad dream, that is considered worse actually. But if one does masturbation, it's considered even more worse. So these are all increasing degrees. So, and why these things happen, the Shastras explain that when the living entity contemplates on a sense object with the desire to enjoy, that is the time the semen which is in an evaporated, sublimated state, it actually becomes like a viscous liquid. It is stored in a packet which keeps building up, and then when it becomes fully packed, then it releases it after that, without your wanting also. So those who are heading the path of Brahmacari life, they should become Urdhvaretas. Urdhvaretas means the semen should flow upwards, not downwards. And for that, they should avoid bad contemplation unnecessarily. Of course, accidentally sometimes you see certain things which one should not see, some poster or something. But one should consciously make an attempt to avoid staring and looking at things which may distract one from the ultimate goal of life. By becoming very conscious about this and focusing on Krishna consciousness, one will very easily overcome these problems. And purity is possible only when we make a conscious effort of Shama and Dama. We should do that.
So when somebody asked this question about, he feels that Grihastha life is more like 50-50, 50% materialistic and 50% devotee. So how to be secure in Krishna consciousness in such a life? Actually, again, it is not so. It is not correct to say that. As I was giving you examples, just before I started my question answer, so many devotees, not only currently in Prabhupada's movement, but even since time immemorial, in the stage of practice as well as in perfection, have been in Grihastha ashram, and it would be too crude or rude to say that 50% of their life was materialistic. It's a wrong notion to say that way.
See, this question is similar lines. If we join a particular sabha, then it might be possible that in voice we don't take association of other sabha devotees. No, this is a very serious question. See, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while living in Navadvip, he had one very intimate associate who is Srivas Thakur and his wife Malini. In his home, there used to be kirtan where Advaita Acharya Prabhu and Srivas Thakur and his brothers. So Mahaprabhu's many associates were Grihasta devotees. Even after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he was living in Jagannath Puri, all these Grihasta Bengali devotees would come. Actually, in the Vaishnava line, there is a big difference between Vedic line and Vaishnava line. In Vedic line, the sannyasi is considered as the head of the society, and all others, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmacari, Grihasta, Vanaprastha, they are all under a sannyasi in the Vedic life. And sannyasi is considered the renounced order and highest order. Whereas in Vaishnava society, irrespective of what is your external garb, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Naham Vipro, Nacha Narapatir, Napi Vaishyo na Shudro, he says, Naham Varni, Nacha Grihapatir, no Vanasto Yatirva, Kintu Prodhyannikila Paramananda Purna Amritabder, Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayor, Dasa Dasa Anudasa. He says, I am servant of the servant of the servant of the maintainer of the gopis, Sri Krishna, and I have no other identity, he says. I am not Brahmacari, I am not Grihasta, I am not Vanaprastha, I am not Sannyasi, I am not Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. All these are external designations, he says. My only true identity is I am servant of Krishna or servant of Krishna's devotees. So from that point of view, you may be a Grihastha. For example, imagine a boy got married, and then he and his wife became very sincere devotees. Within just 3 to 5 years, they practiced seriously and they become very realized, very mature in spiritual life. In fact, they can be more advanced than a brahmachari living in ashram also. In fact, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was going to South India, he went to the home of Advaita Acharya, the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who is a Grihastha man. He went to his house and he offered him obeisances, namaskar. Told that I am going for South India preaching, please bless me. And Bhattacharya said, how can you offer me namaskar? You are a sannyasi, I am a Grihastha. How can I give you blessing? And then Lord Chaitanya said, see, any Grihastha who keeps the deity of Lord Krishna in his home and offers him bhoga and dresses and worship with great love, such a Grihastha becomes fit to offer blessings even to sannyasis. He said, that's why I am asking you a blessing. He said, by this pastime, Lord Chaitanya wanted to show that a Grihastha Vaishnava who is seriously engaged in devotion service should be considered in par with sannyasis. One husband and wife wrote to Prabhupada, devotees. Husband said, Prabhupada, my wife has given me permission to take sannyas. Now I wanted to check, we both are writing to you. If you permit, I can take sannyas. Prabhupada said, what is the need of sannyas? You both are better than best of the sannyasis because you are doing so much service. Prabhupada said. So Prabhupada always said, in whatever ashram you are, whichever ashram helps you to bring out tremendous missionary activities and service to the society, namely propagating Krishna consciousness, in that ashram, if you are doing that, you are a sannyasi. Sannyasi is not just wearing a saffron dress, carrying a danda, making a show to society that I am renounced. Renunciation is a secondary goal. Serving Krishna is a primary goal. So, in your voice, there may be boys who are GS boys, NS boys. This is all superficial designation. In fact, Brahmacari ashram or Grihastha ashram, why we accept these designations? Because we are right now conditioned souls. We have to accept it. When we become liberated souls, you go beyond the Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. You go beyond the three modes. At that time, in Paramahamsa platform, there is no difference between Grihastha, Brahmachari, Sannyasi and all. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a Paramahamsa Vaishnava. Great sannyasi used to come and sit in his lecture and hear. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So one should not think Grihasthas are one step inferior and Brahmacharis are superior. This is a very superficial understanding. But we should know that these ashramas are kept in order to offer us a facility for training ourselves. Whatever is suitable for us, we should accept. Yeah.
At one point, Radhesham Prabhu said that sexual agitation will go away when you live in Brahmachari ashram. But I said that if you have sexual agitation, you should marry. I am seeing some controversy over here. If I join Brahmachari ashram and my sexual agitation can go away, then why is there a need of Grihastha at all? See, that's why I was telling you earlier that it is not that there is only one answer to a particular solution. See, please try to look at it like this. There is a particular problem to be solved. It is not that there is just one way to see it. There are multiple ways in which it is seen. The Shastra is multidimensional. Just like, we saw in that verse that I took up of Yadu, where he says that I need this material happiness to achieve my ultimate liberation. But on the other hand, you see in the same Bhagavatam, in the third canto, where the Kumaras are saying, we don't need this. Just leave us. Brahmaji, we don't want to get married. Just spare us. So you cannot just latch on to one thing and say that, so is this correct or this correct? Both are correct. It depends on the person which is working. You see this point? For one person, that method is working, that is correct. Another person, this method is working. You cannot say that only this method is correct. It's not one answer. Right?
Yeah. See, when should one marry? For example, you are supposed to do devotion service straight, looking towards Guru and Krishna without any other distraction. But if you find that the mind is posing a big obstacle, big stigma, it is not letting you progress. It's saying, give me this. I have some ambitions to be achieved. I want to go abroad. I want to achieve this. I want to achieve that. I need family. So sometimes you find there is a stumbling block. You move the stumbling block aside, then you can march ahead. And that is the reason the Grihasta Ashrama is accepted. As we were talking today about imagination, some imagination. So if a person, like one boy was asking me, Prabhuji, should I write CAT exam and go for MBA and then complete and then come and join Brahmacari Ashram, or should I join now only? So we said, already you are 24, 25, you can join. Only I'm afraid, Prabhuji, after coming to ashram, if the desire again is lurking in my mind, cat, what about rat? So if I'm all the time thinking, cat and rat and gate and GMAT and all that, then I said, okay, then you go now, finish the CAT and crack it and then join some IIM and finish it, work for 1 or 2 years, and 28, 29, even up to 32 people join in Brahmacari Ashram. Some people who have big responsibilities at home. And I said, Prabhuji, only thing is I'm missing the Brahmacari Ashram, I won't get any association in IIM. I said, you have to decide one after the two, either this or that. So some boys have this question, if I have a material desire, some desire is there in my mind, should I give shape to it and get rid of it, or should I deny it by having a higher taste? So if you are getting some higher taste, you are able to move the obstacle aside and march ahead, do that. If you are unable to march ahead, you are unable to develop the higher taste because this stumbling block is not moving aside, then you attend to it and then you go ahead. With wife and children, you march ahead. Ultimate goal can be achieved. So both are actually right, what the Shastras say. I already told you about the Kama Karma Bij burned by Jnana Agni or Bhakti. Either you follow this path or you follow that path. We have to follow one of the paths which will swiftly take us to Krishna.
If someone is from other religion like Jain background, is there any problem in finding marriage in ISKCON? How to convince parents? Well, we have people from Jain background, so many devotees, both men and women, there are there. So it is possible that way. But these are very specific things. So through the counselor itself, one can find solutions for all such issues. So
in ISKCON, we have people from all backgrounds. Actually, there are many good amount of Jains who are becoming devotees. There are Marwadis, there are all parts of India you will find devotees. Even there are Christians who have become Krishna conscious devotees also. There are some Muslims also who are devotees also. So because ISKCON is actually a love of God philosophy, pure philosophy, many people, especially people in cities, they don't have any reservations in coming forward and understanding and accepting. Yeah.
I have an attraction towards women's clothes. I know this habit is bad, but I want to give it up. Please provide me a solution so that I can continue my devotion service in a more peaceful way, either through Gauranga or Nityananda Sabha. See, well, one thing is there that, whether, the solution to lust which is there, ultimately, what Radheshyam Prabhu has been saying, which has been relevant to Brahmacari Ashram in terms of, contemplation, and these things are there even for a Grihasta. It is not going to go away just like that. Okay, so, and as long as one is not married, even if one wants to get married in the future, currently he has to live exactly and abide by all rules exactly the same as a Brahmachari. You see the point? That means currently there is no difference between any of you and any Brahmachari, so to speak, in terms of what is expected from you. Even if any of you have decided that you want to get married only after 7 years, currently you are supposed to live just like a Brahmachari. So you are supposed to follow all those rules and regulations and control your mind. Because the mind is a big demon. It will keep... I'm sure that whoever has asked this question, and all of us know internally that these things are actually very silly because it's just some cotton cloth, just colored in a particular way, a woman's dress. But it is just the mad mind which makes us feel that this is enjoyment. So we have to follow all the rules. Like, for example, when we are going down the street, you see this, what do they call? Mannequin or something? Where woman with a sari, she's standing in a shop, So we should not look at that, obviously. I mean, for anybody it is applicable. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says actually, even if I look at the wooden doll of a woman dressed in attractive cloth, the mind gets agitated because the mind is crazy. It will get agitated, attracted by any foolish thing also. So all of us have to control our mind and focus on Krishna, and we have to sublimate our desires by kind of doing so many services and things like that. We have to do it. There is no choice.
How the great sages of ancient India have wives like Atri, Anasuya and Gautam, Ahilya. Yeah, they are Rupagurvana brahmacharis. So they got married and they remained sages, Rishi and Rishi Patni. They have lived like that. In ISKCON also there are some married devotees who live as full-time Grihastas. There are devotees like that. In Prabhupada's time also they were there, and even now there are some Grihastas like that. Prabhuji, is this the right age to decide which ashrama to choose? We should be given strong dose for GS, but if we are given an option like NS, our mind starts contemplating on NS option. So, this can be done at the age of 23 or 24. Till that we can be strong brahmacharis, like that he is saying. Actually, we are informing all of you about this information what you are getting in this seminar, so that many times what happens, there is a wrong notion among students that ISKCON is shaving up all the intellectuals and and asking them to become full time. Even your parents might have heard from somebody rumors and things like that. So yes, it's true that we could do this seminar at the age of 23 or 24, but if we delay till then, many of you may not be there only, because many people will pull you away, giving you fears that, hey, if you associate with these people, slowly they will admit you. Actually, we have preached to more than 1,00,000 students, and we only have 150 students in our ashram, who are brahmacharis. So we get 1 or 2% of what we preach. It's not that everybody will shave up, and it's not possible also. It requires seriousness and everything. So in order to help you become more open-hearted and understand, Krishna Kishore Prabhu, myself, both of us are giving a broader picture, so you can know the future. This doesn't mean that you should start looking for girls now only. Now I am going to be NS now, Actually, you don't have to look for girls. At the right time, you first complete your studies, take up a job. When the right age comes, everything will be arranged. Don't worry.
Actually, there was one Christian, very so-called very famous man, long time back. He famously or infamously he said, "Why did this God create this woman at all? Had he not created woman only, it would have been so nice. We would have no question only, that only option was to become a father then. There is no woman." But it doesn't work like that. You see, that means the Maya is going to be there around, or whatever is going to be there around, but still we have to decide what we want to do. There is no use of, criticizing the woman or the family life opportunity which is there. Just that we have to decide, where we fit in.
Should we consider our opportunities to preaching while choosing ashram? It seems there is so much opportunities to open temple and preach to the native people. Yes, there is abundant opportunity. The whole world is there for us as customers. And we, Prithivite Achedya Nagaradigram. So, you join the ashram full time, take training, and if in case you want to marry, you marry, and husband wife can preach together also. The one challenge in India is, if you are married, then you need to do a job to earn your livelihood. In case you come from a very well-to-do family, then you don't have to do a job. You can run a business and employ some people. They run the business and you can coolly preach. But as I told you, the positive approach is necessary. Ashram, which ashram you are in is not as important as what you are doing in that ashram. Are we fulfilling the dreams of Prabhupada? That's most important. So it's time for your prasad. You must be very hungry now. We don't want to delay. We would like to thank Krishna Kishore Prabhu with one loud Haribo. Shri Prabhupada ki, Mahaprasad ki jai.